Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of God, as a noun and verb, the most merciful God, the bestower of mercy. They will ask thee concerning the spoils. Answer, the division of the spoils belongeth unto God and the apostle. Therefore fear God, and compose the matter amicably among you, and obey God and his apostle, if you're true believers. Verily the true believers are those whose hearts fear when God is mentioned, and whose faith increaseth when his signs are rehearsed unto them, and who trust in their Lord, and who observe the stated times of prayer, and give alms out of what we have bestowed on them. These are really believers. They shall have superior degrees of felicity with their Lord, and forgiveness and honorable provision, as thy Lord brought thee forth from thy house with truth. And part of the believers were adverse. They disputed with thee concerning the truth, after it had been made known forth unto them, no otherwise than as if they had been led forth to death, and had seen it with their own eyes, and call to mind when God promised you, one of the two parties, that it should be delivered unto you, and ye desired that the party which was not furnished with arms should be unto you. But God proposed to make known the truth in his words, and to cut off the uttermost part of the unbelievers, that he might verify the truth and destroy falsehood, although the wicked were adverse. When ye asked assistance of your Lord, and he answered you, Verily I will assist you with 1,000 angels following one another. And this God designed only as good tidings for you, and that your hearts may thereby rest secure. Is this one of the Shekinah verses? For victory is from God alone, and God is mighty and wise. And when a sleep fell upon you, as a security from him, sakinah, and he sent down upon you water from heaven, that he might thereby purify you, and take you from the abomination of Satan, and that he might confirm your hearts and establish your feet thereby. Also, when thy Lord spake unto the angels, saying, Verily I am with you, wherefore confirm those who believe. I will cast a dread in the hearts of the unbelievers, thereby strike the next. Is a strike the next? Strike off their heads, and strike off the ends of their fingers, on the battlefield. And the Anfal, Surah Anfal, is the rank of the extra, and the war booty is extra. Those who fight to I'm not talking gang back what they've lost or have been taken from, what has been taken from them, that they actually go to war in order to get spoils, are the cursed. Those who fight for land, other than to recapture what has been taken, are the cursed. Those who fight to gain slaves are the cursed. Those who fight to force conversion are the cursed. This is what the Hadith Qudsi says. Cursed by God. This shall they suffer, because they have resisted God and his apostle. And whoever shall oppose God and his apostle, verily God will be severe in punishing him. This shall be taste it, therefore, And the infidels shall also suffer the torment of fire. Not infidels, misbelievers, misassociators, something else. I mean, surely some of them are unfaithful or are atheist or something, but not all of them. O true believers, when you meet the unbelievers marching, turn not your backs against them, for whoso shall turn his back unto them in that day, unless he turneth aside to fight, or retreateth to another part, shall draw on himself the indignation of God, and his abode shall be in hell, and ill journey shall it be thither. And ye slew not those who were slain yourselves, but God slew them. Neither didst thou cast the gravel into their eyes when thou didst seem to cast it, but God cast it. He might prove the true believers by a gracious trial from himself. For God heareth and knoweth. So we are only the means. This was done that God might also weaken the crafty devices of the unbelievers. If ye desire a decision of the matter between us, now hath the decision come unto you, that if ye desist, it would be better for you. But if you return to attack him, we will also return, and your forces shall not be of advantage unto you at all, although they be numerous, for God is with the faithful. O true believers, obey God and his apostle, and turn not back from him, since ye hear the admonitions of Alcoran. And be not as those who say, we hear, when they do not hear. Verily, the worst source of beasts in sight of God are the deaf and the dumb, who understand not. If God had known any good in them, he would certainly have caused them to hear, and if he had caused them to hear, they would surely have turned back and have retired afar off. O true believers, answer God and his apostle when he inviteth you unto that which giveth you life. No spiritual life and physical life, really. And know that God go between a man and his heart, and that before him ye shall be assembled. So God's closer to us than our own heart is. But he is not. God in the heart is not. God is our heart. God is innermost, outermost, and around everything in between. Or he wouldn't be omnipresent. And that before him you shall be assembled. Beware of sedition. It will afflict, it will not affect those who are ungodly among you particularly. And know that God is severe in punishing all of you in general. I'm not sure how accurate the translation is there. And remember when ye were few, and reputed weak in the land, ye feared lest men should snatch you away. But God provided you a place of refuge, and he strengthened you with his assistance, and bestowed on you good things, that ye might give thanks. O true believers, deceive not God and his apostle. Well, can't deceive God. You try to deceive. Some of these things sound different in English than they do with their proper inflections in Arabic, and someone knowledgeable in the Quran, or even me, can explain some of these things to you, but not all of them at once. And know that your wealth and your children are a temptation unto you, and that with God is a great reward. O true believers, if ye fear God, he will grant you a distinction and will expedite your sins from you and will forgive you, for God is endowed with great liberality. And let's remind how in Surah 3 that God has ordained the love of the opposite sex, of children, of animals, of material goods. But let's not be led astray because of these things. Great reward. O true believers, if you fear God, He will grant you a distinction. This is the true Zionism in the biblical language, is the distinction, not a land, a good example, a shining sign, and will expedite your sins from you, and will forgive you, for God is endued with great liberality. And call to mind when the unbelievers plotted against thee, that they might either detain thee, or put to death, or expel thee, and they plotted against thee, but God laid a plot against them, and God is the best layer of plots. And when our signs are repeated unto them, they say, We have heard. And if we please, we could certainly pronounce a composition like unto this. This is nothing but fables of the ancients. And when they said, O God, if this be the truth from thee, rain down stones upon us from heaven, or inflict us with some grievous punishment. But God was not dispossessed to punish them while thou wast with them. Thou wast with them. Nor was God disposed to punish them when they asked pardon. But they have nothing to offer an excuse why God should not punish them, since they hindered the believers from the holy temple, although they are not the guardians thereof. Well, the true guardian. The guardians thereof are those only who fear God. But the greater part of them know it not, and their prayer at the house is no other than whistling and the clapping of hands. Even in the Islamic world, we have people who play flutes and drums and think it counts like prayer, or it actually is praying. It's much more common with the New Agers and all this. But musical instruments are not allowed in a masjid in this day and age, and to be played. That includes your rings on your cell phones. It's also, you're supposed to silence the bells and whatnot of the animals and everything else when you go by a masjid. Or if there's somebody praying nearby, you want to. And their prayer at the house is none other than whistling and the clapping of hands. Taste therefore the punishment, for that ye have been unbelievers. They who believe not expend their wealth to obstruct the way of God. You know, like in political campaigns, for example. They shall expend it, but afterwards it shall become a matter of sighing and regret unto them, and at length they shall be overcome, and the unbelievers shall be gathered together unto hell, that God may distinguish the wicked from the good, and may throw the wicked one upon the other, and they may gather them all in a heap, and cast them into hell. These are they who shall perish. Say unto the unbelievers that if they desist from opposing thee, what is already past shall be forgiven them. But if they return to attack thee, the exemplary punishment of the former is already past, and the like shall be afflicted on them. Therefore fight against them until there be no opposition in favor of idolatry, and the religion be holy God's. If they desist, verily God seeth that which they do. But if they turn back, know that God is your patron. He is the best of patrons. And the best helper. So we obviously see the word and oppression. Nothing about, their religion isn't Islam, we have to fight them. No, it's we establish the system of God when the victory of the battle has happened. And know that whenever ye gain any, a fifth part thereof belongeth unto God, and to the apostles, and the orphans, and the poor, and the traveler, if ye believe in God and that which we have sent down unto our servant on the day of distinction, on the day whereon the two armies met, and God is almighty, when ye were encamped on the hithermost side of the valley, and they were encamped on the farther side, and the caravan was below you, and if ye had mutually appointed to come to a battle, ye would have certainly had declined the appointment, but ye were brought to an engagement without any previous appointment, that God might accomplish the thing which was to be done, that he who perisheth may perish after demonstrative evidence, and that he who liveth may live by the same evidence. God both heareth and knoweth. When thy Lord caused the enemy to appear unto thee in thy sleep few, and if he had caused them, I don't think it says sleep, and if he has caused them to appear numerous unto thee, ye would have been disheartened. God and would have disputed concerning the matter, but God preserved you from this, for he knoweth the innermost parts of the breast of men. And when he caused them to appear unto you when you met, to be few in your eyes, and diminished your numbers in their eyes, that God might accomplish the thing which was decreed to be done, and unto God shall all things return. O true believers, when ye meet a party, stand firm, and remember God frequently, that ye may prosper, and obey God as it is possible, and be not refractory, lest ye be discouraged, and your success depart from you. But persevere with patience, for God is with those who persevere. And be not as those who went out of their houses in an insolent manner, and to appear with ostentation unto men, and turned aside from the way of God. For God comprehendeth that which they do. And remember when Satan prepared their works for them, and said, No man shall prevail against you today, and I will surely be near to assist you. And when the two armies appeared in sight of each other, he turned back on his heels and said, Verily, I am clear of you. I certainly see that which ye see not. I fear God, for God is severe in punishing. When the hypocrites and those in whose hearts was infirmity said, Their religion hath deceived these men, but whoso confideth in God cannot be deceived, for God is mighty and wise. And if thou didst behold when the angels cause the unbelievers to die, they strike their faces and their backs, and say unto them, Taste ye the pain of burning. This shall you suffer for that which your hands have sent before you. And because God is not unjust towards his servants, these have acted according to the want of the people of Pharaoh, and of those before them who disbelieved in the signs of God, before God took them away in their iniquity. For God is mighty and severe in punishing. This hath come to pass because God changeth not his grace, wherewith he had favored any apostle, until they change that which is in their souls. And for that God both heareth and seeth, according to the want of the people of Pharaoh, and of those before them who charged the signs of their Lord with imposture, have they acted, wherefore we've destroyed them in their sins, and we drowned the people of Pharaoh, for they were all unjust persons. Verily the worst cattle in the sight of God are those who are obstinate infidels and will not believe. As to those who enter into a league with thee and afterwards violate their league at every convenient opportunity, and fear not God, if thou take them in war, disperse by making them an example those who shall come after them, that they may be warned. Or if thou apprehendeth treachery from any people, throw back early unto them with like treatment, for God loveth not the treachery. And think not that the unbelievers have escaped God's vengeance, for they shall not weaken the power of God. Therefore prepare against them what force ye are able, and troops of rides, the best rides. I think the word for horse also means your best ride, whereby you may strike terror into the enemy of God and your enemy, and into the others besides them, whom ye know not, but God knoweth them. And whatever ye shall expend in the defense of the religion of God, Dean, the system, all your existence is supposed to be part of that relationship. It shall be repaid unto you, and ye shall not be treated unjustly. And if they incline unto peace, do thou incline thereto, and put thy confidence in God, for it is He who heareth and knoweth. But if they seek to deceive thee, verily God will be thy support. It is He who hath strengthened thee with His help, and with that of the faithful, and hath united their hearts. If thou hadst expended whatever riches are in the earth, thou couldst not have united their hearts, but God united them. For He is mighty and wise. O prophet, God is thy support, and such of the true believers who followeth thee. O prophet, stir up the faithful to war. If 20 of you persevere with consistency, they shall overcome 200. And if there be 100 of you, they shall overcome 1,000 of those who believe not, because they are a people which do not understand. Now hath God eased you, for He knew that ye were weak. Now, if there be 100 of you who persevere with constancy, they shall overcome 200. And if there be 1,000 of you, they shall overcome 2,000 by the permission of God. For God is with those who persevere. It hath not been granted unto any prophet that he should possess captives until he hath made a great slaughter in the earth. And ye seek the accidental goods of this world, but God regardeth the life to come, and God is mighty and wise. Unless a revelation had been previously delivered from God, verily a severe punishment had been inflicted on you, which ye took. Eat, therefore, of what ye have acquired, that which is lawful and good. For God is gracious and merciful. O prophet, say unto the captives who are in your hands, if God shall know any good to be in your hearts, He will give you better than that. Better than what hath been taken from you, and He will forgive you, for God is gracious and merciful. But if they seek to deceive thee, verily they have deceived God. Well, they've tried to deceive God. It's odd thing in English that we get comes out wrong. Wherefore He hath given thee power over them, and God is knowing and wise. Moreover, they who have believed and have fled their country and employed their substance and their persons in fighting for the religion of God, and they who have given a refuge among them and have assisted him, these shall be deemed the one nearest of kin to the other. But they who have believed but have not fled their country shall have no right of kindred at all with you until they also fly. Flee, whatever. Yet, if they ask assistance of you on account of religion, unto you to give them assistance, except against a people between whom and yourselves there shall be a league subsisting, and God seeth that which ye do. And as to the infidels, let them be deemed of kin the one to the other. Unless ye do this, there will be a sedition in the earth, and a grievous corruption. But as for them who have believed and left their country, and have fought for God's true religion, and who have allowed the prophet a retreat among them, and have assisted him, these are really believers. They shall receive mercy and an honorable provision, and they who believed since and have fled their country and have fought with you, these also are of you, and those are related by consanguinity. Consanguinity. Shall be deemed the nearest of kin to each other, preferably to strangers, according to the book of God. God knoweth all things. And the next surah is the only of the suwar that do not start with those 19 letters. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of God and the singular, the beneficent, the merciful. But there's 114 Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim in Alcoran. Is it Surah 27, I believe, that has 114th. So there's an average of one per surah.